Hi, this is Steve King from Sheds Unlimited. Today I will be showing you how to install a 6-foot door on this shed, whether you're looking to upgrade your existing door or starting from scratch on a brand new shed. So step number one is to find the location of your door. So in this case here, this door is going to be centered along this wall. This wall dimension is 28 feet long. So what we want to do is find the center, which is 14. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hook my tape off the straight part of the building, which is this corner here. I'll hook on right here. Come along here, make a mark at 14. And then we're installing a 6-foot door. So center of the 6-foot door is 3 foot. So what you want to do here is go to your 11-foot mark. All of our rough openings are a 1/4 inch bigger than 6 foot. So in this case here, this would be at 10 foot 11 and 7/8. Make a mark and come over here, do the same on the other side, which is 17 and 1/8. And then what you want to do is repeat the same process down on the bottom. Make a mark at 14. And same thing, 10 and 11, 7/8. And 17 and 1/8. So step number 2 is we're going to be adding 2 studs at these marked locations that we made earlier. So what we're going to do here is measure from your bottom to your top, which in this case here is a 74-inch stud. So in order to do that, we're going to step out and cut 2 studs at 74 inches. So here we have 2 studs that I'm going to be cutting down to 74 inches. Make a mark, 74, and then grab your square so you can make a straight cut. So now we will be installing these 2 studs that I cut, one on each mark that we had marked earlier. And what I'm using is an impact driver with a 3-inch screw. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 screws in on the side. All right, so step number 3 is cutting these studs out so we can install our door header. So step number 4 is installing your door header. So what we're gonna do here is measure from the floor. In this case, our door rough opening is at 71. Make a mark at 71. I'm gonna come over here on the other side, do the same thing. And here, after you make your mark, if you measure this distance right here, I have 4.5 inches. So that's what your door header width is supposed to be. So now we're gonna go out and assemble and cut the door header. Now that we're out here, I have my door header out here. What I'm doing here is I wanna cut it down to the width of our door, which is 6.25 feet. So now what I wanna do is mark these out, 6.25 feet. All right, so now that these are cut down, what we have here is a piece of 1/2 inch OSB. This goes right in between these 6 foot by their 4.5 wide 2x6s that were cut down. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to make everything flush. I'm going to start on one side, make sure everything is flush. Grab my impact driver and some screws. And what I'm doing here is I'm screwing all this together before I install it. All right, just finished cutting up this header. So once again, just a reminder, make sure you put 2 screws every 12 inches. And then once you've done that, we're gonna head in to the shed and get this header installed. So what you wanna do is put it up against here and hold the middle. Make sure it's tight up against the bottom wall plate. Run 1 screw on an angle up to the plate. And then you want to run 1 other screw in on each side. And then you also want to run a couple more screws in through the side of this stud that we added. So step number 5, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut out this wall panel here that's covering our rough opening. So what I'm going to do to start that is I have a router here. I'm going to start by cutting a hole or punching a hole. It's going to mark the location. I'm going to go outside here. It's going to mark the location on where I can continue routing this whole door out. So. All right, so now since we have the whole wall panel cut out with the router, as you can see here, the router was not able to go down to the whole bottom of the panel here. So in order to finish this cut, what I have here is a skill saw. I have my blade set at 1/2 inch depth, which is the depth of the panel here. And then what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be making a square mark to the very bottom so we can finish out this cut here. All right, since I have the wall panels cut out and removed, the next step is going to be removing this bottom wall sill plate here. Recommended tool is a pretty good sized crowbar. What you're going to have to do is come in here and since we have our wall panels cut out, one last thing that we need to do before we get the doors installed is cut this up 3/4 of an inch. So this allows the door to slam up against this header. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a mark up 3/4. Do that on the other side. And then I have a chalk line here. I'm going to use this to get a straight line the whole way across. So now that I have a straight line across here, what I want to do is grab my skill saw and start on this side of the door. So step number 6, what we're going to do here is we're going to be fastening the wall panel to the studs and the header. And what I'm using here is screws. What I'm going to do is start from the bottom and work my way up, placing them about 12 inches apart. So once you did that, we're going to be installing, these are called slam strips. They're going to be going in between the door header and the floor. So what you want to do here is make sure that you're flush with this wall stud that we added here around the door. And here again, I would probably use one screw starting on the top and space them out about every 12 inches. All right, so now we're going to be installing the door trim here. So when you install this, what you want to do is you want to go up 3/4 past your door header here, and start in about 1/8 of an inch in past from your cutout on your wall panel. So what you want to do here is put one nail in, top and bottom, and then repeat the same process on the other side. And then tack the top piece of trim on as well, one nail on each side. Make sure you divide your trim out in between, that way you have even reveal. So in the shop here, I'm using a 15 gauge trim nailer. Now there is other ways to fasten this trim as well too. You can use 2-inch hand nails and just hammer the nails in the trim. So that's one other alternative method. So step number 7 is installing these doors. So what we want to do first is start with the left side, the non-latch side of the door. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have your appropriate gap tolerances here. Usually on the side here between the door trim and actual door itself is about 1/8 of an inch. And on top we try and shoot for around 3/8 to 5/16 of an inch. So what you want to do, start out by putting one screw in on top. And then come down to your bottom, make your gap the same as like you have on top, which is about 1/8 of an inch. And once you have that door set, come to the other door and do the same thing. And sometimes if you see that your gap is not quite the same as the other door, what you can do is you can just loosen this screw and it'll drop it just a little bit so you can get your even reveal. And if that looks good, you come down to the bottom here and set your 1/8 gap. All right, so now you can see that the doors on top here are not lining up. You can also see that the middle also is not the same. The top here is actually spread out further. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come over here, remove this screw, and hit this trim over to try and get this door to line up. So that looks a lot better right there. So I'm going to put this screw back in. So now we're still a little bit high here, and we're also now a little bit tighter on top than we are with the bottom. So what I'm going to do to correct that is I'm going to come down to the bottom of this door and pull this screw out, and then hit this trim over about 1/8 of an inch. So now you can see that we're pretty much lined up on top here and also down the middle here. So that's how you correct a door that's off. Sometimes you just have to figure out which way you got to go with one side, remove the screw, hit your trim over, and you should be good to go. All right, now that we have our doors lined up here, what I'm going to be doing here is putting the rest of the screws in all these hinges. All right, so now that I have all the hinges screwed down to the trim, the next step is to install the bumpers. So what we have here is a little rubber bumper that we install on the hinge here. So that when the door swings out, it doesn't contact the shed. So what we usually install one top, bottom, and same on the other side as well too. All right, so what we're going to do next is drill holes for these two spring latches that are attached to this door. So what you want to do there is grab your hammer and make sure you put pressure on the door, that it's tight up against the door header and on the floor as well too. And then you want to make a mark by hitting on the latch so you know where to drill your hole, and do the same as on the bottom. What I'm using here is a 3/8 drill bit to drill this hole. All right, so what you can see here on this door here, now that we have the spring latches done and the holes drilled, you can see the bottom of this door is sticking out about a good 1/2 inch. So what you do to correct that is open up the door, come on the inside here, and adjust these stretch rods. All right, so now we're going to finish nailing our trim. What I usually like to do is put about 2 or 3 nails in between each hinge spacing. I'm going to do that now. And also on top here, you want to finish that off as well. And usually what I like to do is make sure that your reveal is the same the whole way across. Put 1 nail in the middle, and then go about every 12 inches. And now you can finish touching up your door trim. So the final step is to paint the bottom of your rim board and enjoy your new doors. All right guys, thank you for watching this video. That's how you install the doors on this shed. If you have any questions, comments, please contact us via email or call us. All the contact information will be listed below. Thank you.